This episode of our podcast is brought to you by Dulaban Insurance. If you live in Ontario, Canada, and are looking for the best price and coverage for your Tesla, give Dulaban a call at 1-855-385-4226 or visit their website at dulabaninsurance.com/Tesla.
Here we go now.
Here we go now. Welcome back to the Tesla Owners Online podcast. It's another episode. It's, what is today anyways? It's February
19th.
Yeah, February 19th. Look at that. Just want to say welcome to everybody. I know we've been a little bit absent for the last couple of weeks. We were on vacation last week, decided to take a week off, but here we are. Got lots of Tesla news, and we will get to viewer, listener, and questions a little bit later in the show. By the way, if you're new to the podcast, thank you for joining. We hope you enjoy it. I know that sometimes giving us some of your time is valuable, so we certainly appreciate it. If you ever want to send in questions for us to answer on the show, just follow my Twitter account. That's Model 3 Owners. That's the short tag. Or you can search for Tesla Owners Online, and I publish a Google form where you can submit the questions during the day so that we'll answer those later on. Joining me this evening is Mr. Eric Camacho in this square. How you doing, Eric?
I'm doing well, gentlemen. How are you today?
Excellent. And down below is our good friend Raj coming in from California. How are you, Raj?
Hey guys, good. How are you?
Great. Thanks for joining us this evening to talk about all things Tesla. Now, later on in the show, we're hoping, if all things go well, our good friend Ian Pavelko will be dialing in from his, well, he's on the road right now, so he's going to dial in whenever he can, and we'll have a chat with him when he gets in. So, without having much more ado about that, let's jump in. We got some Tesla news to cover here. So, in case you hadn't noticed, if you have a standard range or a standard range plus Model 3, guess what? You have a new upgrade in your upgrade tab or in your Tesla account. You can now purchase or activate for $300 US the rear heated seats on your car,
or the toasty buns mode.
Well, you know, if you live in a colder climate, it can come in handy for passengers. I don't have a lot of passengers in my car, but yeah, for a lot of us that need that. Now, Raj, I remember you took the rear seat out of your car,
yeah,
because you had a Gen 1 seat and you went to the Gen 2 seat, right?
Yep.
Okay, and two connectors on both sides.
Two connectors on both sides. Plug it in, tested it out. It's good to go. All the seats have the rear seat heaters in it.
Yeah, I think for efficiency reasons, Tesla during the manufacturing process just decided, you know what, let's just put all the same stuff in the car. Well, mostly, because there are some things that are missing out of the standard range plus. And we'll just do the software as a service thing, because this is a discussion that seems to come up once in a while, that Tesla is certainly adding more features as they go. I'm sure there's going to be some other things for these cars that they'll do. I mean, the first thing that they're charging for now is the data plan now for people. And now we've seen this. We did the $2,000 performance upgrade just recently. Yeah. So I'm sure they have some other things up their sleeve. So yeah, software as a service thing is a big thing. So yeah, look for that. If that's something that's of interest to you, you can go into your account and you can upgrade your car if you have that.
And just a fun fact on that is that none of the cars, when Model 3 first came out, the rear seats weren't heated either. So it actually was like
that's true.
Second or third software update. I think Trevor, you covered that in my video. The rear seats were activated via software update.
That's true. There were many things that were activated later on. The software, when I first saw the Model 3, this was September of 2017. Yeah, September 2017. The software was really rough. For those of you who've been around a long time, watch some of my videos. Ken and I did a video where we had early access to like a sub 260 VIN car, and we went over every inch of that car. And one of the things we didn't show in the video was how buggy the software was, let's put it that way. A lot of stuff has changed since then. I mean, it's a lot better now, but back in the day, I mean, the computer was crashing all the time, and I think that's one of the reasons Tesla said, please don't show the car. But anyways, we didn't put it in the video, but it is what it is. All right, moving on. Tesla has made a change via a technical note. I'll bring up the technical note so some of you guys can see it here. There's a policy change regarding supercharging or fast charging on salvage cars. If you guys are fans of the Rich Rebuilds video, he just did a video on this where he covered a lot of this stuff, so I'm not going to rehash everything he said, but I will go in some of the data points. So Tesla basically says in this technical note, and by the way, the links to everything we talk about tonight will be in the podcast. Yep, links down below. If you're listening, it'll be in the show notes, of course. But if you want to see us talk and stuff, you can go to the YouTube channel after the fact. Anyway, so Tesla says that they do not recommend purchasing a Tesla that has a salvage title. Later on in the technical note, they say Tesla uses the following resources to confirm whether or not a vehicle has been classified as salvaged: government or regulatory agencies, Tesla-approved body shops, results of other internal investigations, independent vehicle history agencies, for example, Carfax. And look at this: internet forums and vehicle auction sites. Wonder what kind of forums they're watching. Later
Reddit?
on, they go. No, Reddit too, sure, whatever. Yeah. I don't spend a lot of time there, but anyway, they go on to say a little bit later on in the technical note that once a vehicle is marked as being unsupported or having a salvage title, supercharging and or fast charging through third-party chargers is permanently disabled. They say that Tesla reserves the right to deactivate supercharging capability on any vehicle we believe would be unsafe. If a vehicle is found to have been modified to enable supercharging and or fast charging through third-party chargers, meaning if the car has been reactivated, Tesla may take legal action and seek compensation. Contact Tesla Business Resolutions for the appropriate region if you learn of modifications that would enable supercharging or fast charging through third-party chargers or by an unsupported vehicle. So essentially what Tesla's doing here is that they have a little snitch program of sorts through through these venues here, like government agencies, their own body shops.
I see nothing wrong with it. I think it's actually a smart move in their part to do that. I mean, if you have a salvage vehicle, you plug it into a supercharger, all of a sudden something catches on fire, it's short, something bad happens. That's a liability problem for a lot of people. Tesla's like, we want no part of this. Yep. So they're going to disable it.
They're protecting themselves. They're protecting the customer. But you have some people that are like, well, I should have a right to repair and do my own things. I own the car. Why are you disabling this?
But I mean, like in certain states, when you have a salvage title, that's a very big problem. Like here in Florida, the way we manage vehicles that are salvaged is different than it is in some other states. But ideally, if you have a title, like if I get a rebuilt title here in Florida, you can do that. But registration for the car is going to be different. The costs are different. The applications are different. What legal rights you have are going to be a little bit different because of that. And ideally, if I had a Tesla that was totaled in an accident, say airbags deployed, the car got totaled, but someone goes to a salvage yard, takes the vehicle and decides to rebuild it or whatever else, I can understand the person saying, right, you maybe rebuilt it, maybe you had someone help you rebuild it, but ideally that car is not as safe as the car was before the accident. So Tesla's going to say, we're not going to lie to use supercharging. I don't see anything wrong with that. It might bother the person who goes, well, hey, that's not fair to me. I said, right, but you're choosing to get a salvage vehicle that most people would be like, I don't want a salvage car. Like if you were to if I go to buy a used car and I found out that's got a rebuilt title, I'm not buying that car because it means it's been in a really, really bad accident before to the point where it's not drivable. And someone said, I'm going to fix it for a lot less than buying a new car. I'm not going to buy it off of them, no matter how conditioned the car is in.
Yeah. Well, there is a burgeoning industry of people trying to get into business. Matter of fact, I heard from some guy today in Canada who's trying to do the rich rebuilds thing himself and starting up a business doing minor repairs. I mean, these are still early days in a lot of ways with the Tesla thing because, you can't just bring your car to any dealer to get the battery pack looked after. I mean, we're talking 350 to 400 volts. That'll kill somebody if you're not careful. So obviously, I mean, the user batteries, the batteries in the Teslas for the average person are non-user serviceable. You can't go in there and mess around. Yes, there's an industry, people pulling out the modules, especially the S's and the X's, because they're a little bit easier to deal with the modules in that case. But I understand Tesla's position on this. But again, you're going to have some people who are like, well, why are you taking away services? So anyways, just wanted to let everybody know that there's been a change. So if you're one of those people that are looking on Copart or these Carfax places and you're looking at purchasing one of these cars, that Tesla's looking at disabling supercharging on those vehicles. And if you re-enable it, you could be in a big pickle. So anyways, a little bit of an FYI. All right, some other news. Model S and X got an EPA range boost. Look at this. Ta-da! Model S. Oh, sorry, you can't see it on my screen here. Maybe I can zoom in a little bit. Anyways, 390 miles on the Model S, and the Model X is now rated at 351 miles. Now, these changes come because Tesla was sandbagging the EPA range a little bit on these cars, and we're talking about the new cars. Sandbagging? What's wrong with that?
I'm kidding. It's sarcastic.
You're thinking about something else, Eric. Please.
You sandbagging son of a bitch. Is she still in the house?
Oh boy. Family show. I have to put that tag on there. Anyway, so Elon did take to Twitter because somebody, and I don't have a link here in front of me, but someone had asked, look, we're so close to 400 miles. Like, what's the deal? Elon basically responded, it would be possible to get to 400 miles with improved wheels and tires for all previously made cars. Now, keep that with a grain of salt. When he's saying previously made cars, he's talking about the current generation, which is basically the Ravens. So don't think that you have a 2013 Model S and you can get 400-mile range because you can't get a battery pack for those.
Do you think, though, that with the Ravens are the ones that are the Raven S's are the ones that are almost hitting the 400 now?
Yep.
And then they would essentially hit that 400 with the upgraded wheels. But I took it a little bit differently. I took it that the wheels would help improve efficiency. So let's say in this case, what are we talking? What is it? 394?
390 for the Model S. 351. 351
so
for the
you're
Model
essentially
X.
looking at wheels that would give you 10 more miles of efficiency. And ideally, couldn't those wheels be put on an older Model S to essentially give 10 miles? That's the way I took it as. I took it like the new ones. I don't know.
Yeah, I would think that's possible. The thing is with Tesla wheels is that they're not generally light. They're pretty heavy. Yeah. So if you go aftermarket wheels, we all know this, if you get aftermarket wheels that are lighter, that's a lot of inertial mass that you're losing, so it's better for efficiency. Yeah. The EV01 wheels that were, that Ian and I had tested and stuff, they're just as efficient as the Aero wheels that Tesla puts out, and they're lighter. So you get some efficiency improvements that way. So
the thing that I have with all of this, and it really comes down to this very simple fact, it's just a selling point. It's like, how great is it an electric car that a few years ago could barely crack 100 miles, and now we have electric cars that maybe are approaching 400. Tesla owners don't drive the full distance their car can actually go without stopping the charge somewhere along the way. You're not going to try to test it out going, let me start with 100% in my garage and see how far I can go before I get damn near zero. No, you're not driving 310, 350, 390. You're not going to do that. So ideally, it's just more of the advancement of technology and how far the cars have come in the few years that Tesla's been around more than anything else. If you were to offer me a Model S with either 360 or 390, to me, the number's not that significant to make a huge difference. Am I going to be able to handle my daily trips on either car? Yes. So it doesn't. To me, it's just more of where the technology's been more than anything else.
It's just a way of removing the objection for the people that say, "Well, I'd never buy an electric car unless I can charge in 5 seconds. I can do 2,000 miles on a charge."
Right.
Well, that's completely and utterly unrealistic for most people. But they just got it in their minds that that's the way it is, right?
If you can make a Model S with the weight of, say, like a Kia or a Toyota, that car could go 500 miles. The weight makes a big difference in that car.
Yeah.
4,000
so does speed.
Yeah, of course.
A Model S will do way more than 390 miles if you only drive 30 miles an hour.
Yeah, for hypermiling it,
True.
Right?
Yes.
So, anyways.
Very true.
Anyways, it's nice to see these improvements. It does help, and with further advancements in battery technology that is surely coming this year, will easily break the 400-mile mark. Rumblings that I've been hearing, Model S will probably be in the vicinity of about 450 miles with the new battery. So we'll see.
Amazing.
Yeah, getting there. All right. Tesla is now including third-party charging stations in-car navigation for some people in Europe. This article comes via our friends at Tasmanian. You guys should check out their blog. They got some really good stuff. Anyways, so Tesla reached out to a user and read out this. I'm just going to read out the part that they sent. They said that during the spring break, we changed your navigation to show more charging options in Belgium, Netherlands, Germany, Switzerland, and Austria. Select the charging icon at the bottom of your touchscreen, scroll down, and choose a supercharger, target charger, or public charger to add to your route. Public chargers have different access requirements. You may need to download an app such as Plug Surfing, and then create an account to use the charger. This functionality will be implemented in future software updates and will be and we will continuously add new chargers. I think this is awesome. I think they should bring this. I mean, yeah, I do have the PlugShare app on my phone, and it's nice to see the destination chargers in the Tesla, but having the public chargers on there would be really, really nice. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to this. I hope they bring it to North America in due time. The fact that they're doing it now for Europe, for these particular countries, leads me to believe that this is actually going to hit us eventually too. So, all right, another piece of news here. I had one of my Twitter followers reached out to me, and Neil Patel. And unfortunately, I can't seem to... Let me see if I can bring my screen down a little bit. You guys can read this. I don't know. I'm trying to put it on my screen here. Anyways, he hit me up and he says, hot tip from the Tesla bloke at CIAS. That's the Canadian International Auto Show. He drove the Model Y test vehicle, and it has USB-C ports for the rear connections. He's talking for the passengers in the back. So a little tidbit there. Can't confirm it. Won't deny it either. But for those of you who were wondering about that, that's a possible change. So anyways, hopefully maybe sometime next month or the next month and a half or something when we get our hands on a Model Y, be able to confirm that. Again, they're just talking about the USB ports for the passengers behind the center console, not necessarily the front. So who knows? Anyways, a little bit of intel for you if you're curious. All right, another bit of information. A trip labeling could be coming to Teslas soon. Our good friend Tim Dodd, the everyday astronaut, took to Twitter and asked Elon, and he says, small but easy feature request. I'd love the option to label every trip as work or personal right there on the screen when you put the car in park. Doing it right when parking and not using a phone app would be amazing. Please let us download something like a comma-separated value file or something like that. Elon said, okay. So add that to another list of things. That would be pretty cool. That would be pretty awesome, being able to categorize some of our trips. You guys do that once in a while? I mean,
I don't.
Do you use the favorites function at all?
I use the favorites just for additional addresses outside of home and work. But I would look at this as being very useful for, someone who's, I mean, Trevor, you would probably use this because you used to drive a lot for work, right? So just being able to categorize
not so much
that.
anymore, but
but I mean, like even for like expenses and things like that, right? Just easily be, here you go.
Yeah.
Here's the mileage.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Yeah. All right. Well, like I said, looking forward to that if it actually does come. The next article we have, well, it's not an article, it's actually a tweet, comes from our good friend, Ryan McCaffrey. He jumped into a conversation that they were having with Elon about the Plaid Model S. And he said the Plaid S is probably going to hit 500 miles of range unless you can actually drive it like it's got Plaid mode. As Elon has already stated, that will have a battery pack larger than 100 kilowatt hours. That's my guess, at least. Elon said there's a tough performance versus range trade-off. Plaid has absurd performance while holding range roughly constant. This car's going to have legs, man. I'm looking forward to seeing what they're going to be able to do with this. Model S, as nice as it is, I mean, a lot of people are waiting for this ultimate refresh, so to speak. The Plaid is obviously the car that's, in my opinion, the car is really going to get all of the new stuff. New battery pack, tri-motor setup, ultimately an interior refresh. That's, most people really want something like that. In my opinion, it's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when. Yeah. That's the time to do it. Later this summer, early fall. Mm-hmm. So I think that would really give that car, some legs to keep going. What it means for the Roadster down the road, because again, the Plaid thing is pulled largely from the Roadster. I think, what was it Ryan said, or no, it was Franz. Franz on Ryan's podcast. Remember, he said the Roadster needs a little bit more time, but it's going to be better in every way.
Yeah.
I'll be interested to see what they improve on that car. I think it ties in with battery. Right, this battery day thing that's going to be happening.
Mm-hmm. Well, I still wonder where all that batteries are going. Remember when we looked at the diecast, right? There's no frunk. There's got to be some batteries in there to weigh down the front so you don't lift the car up. I mean,
yeah, that is true. I thought that was a little bit odd about that because I mean they're pretty faithful. Those diecast and the diecast models that Raj is talking about, it's the 1/18th scale ones you can buy on the Tesla shop. He and I both have one of the Roadster ones. Matter of fact, it's right behind me here. Yeah, they don't have a front trunk on that thing. So What are they? What's in there? Squirrels, hamsters? I don't know, man. Batteries.
Tons of hamsters and wheels.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting what they do with that. We'll talk about batteries here in just a second, but I think there's a lot more really coming down the pike. Eric, you wanted to say something?
No, I was just saying, you hamsters and wheels. I was squeaky, squeaky, squeaky.
Oh, squeaky, squeaky. Okay, all right. Right. Are we looking at cobalt-free batteries in China for the Model 3? This comes from Reuters. May I bring it up for you guys? Reuters has a source who prefers not to be named, but they're saying that Tesla is in the advanced stages of talks to use batteries from CATL, and that's a company called Contemporary Amperex Technology Company Limited, and they are looking at using no cobalt in these batteries. Cobalt is one of the most expensive metals in electric vehicle batteries. Mm-hmm. These batteries will be an LFP, which is a lithium ion phosphate. It's a little different chemistry. Tesla has been talking to the Chinese manufacturer for more than a year to supply LFP batteries that will be cheaper than its existing batteries by a double-digit %, said the person directly involved with the matter, who was not authorized to speak with media, so declined to be identified. EV manufacturers typically use nickel cobalt aluminum, or NCA, or nickel manganese cobalt, or NMC batteries. Cobalt's one of these metals. It's a byproduct by the way of refining copper. It's one of the metals involved. 50% of the cobalt production in the world comes from the Congo, and it's a little bit of a political hot potato in a lot of ways. The use of LFP batteries will also help Chief Executive Elon Musk meet a 2018 promise that Tesla would cut the use of cobalt, which costs some $33,500 a ton, to, quote, almost nothing. So I thought, a lot of people are wondering, what's the deal with cobalt? So I did a little bit of digging, and I'm not going to really get into all the science of it and stuff, but as I said, cobalt is a metal. I know. I'll put links to everything. If you want to read about it, go crazy. But I'm just going to give you the Reader's Digest version here. So cobalt, they say, is a metal that's typically produced as a byproduct of copper and nickel mining. And Panasonic and Tesla for its vehicles use so-called NCA chemistry, which is nickel, cobalt, aluminum. Other companies use NMC, which is nickel, manganese, cobalt. And the reason Tesla uses NCA as opposed to the other one is because the aluminum doesn't dissolve like manganese does in the electrolyte. And the reason they did that is for longevity. Tesla's all about keeping the batteries for longevity. Manganese, when you put it in the electrolyte, apparently starts to dissolve, and that leads to premature degradation. Okay? So I have to be careful.
Oh, man.
So that's the reason that they're doing this. I don't think at the end of the day it's going to make all that much difference. The reason they use cobalt in the batteries is because, and I have to look at my notes here again.
Also, something to know while you're doing that, it's a limited resource. There's only so much cobalt buried in the ground in the earth. I mean, once you mine all of it, which I think Bolivia has a large mine of cobalt, there's a point where you just run out of it. And if we're trying to accelerate to, these battery packs and all kinds of different things now that are trying to go away from fossil fuels to renewable energy, you can't always have cobalt in your batteries because you're going to eventually run out of it. So it's good that they're seeing other solutions down the line. And I'm sure there are scientists and labs all around the world trying to develop new solutions that don't require cobalt and some other things, maybe not even using lithium as an ingredient in their battery packs. But I think the more we can do to get to solar without the need for a pack to store much, or at least very, very small packs at that for smaller footprints. But yeah, these are all limited resources, folks. We only have so much of it.
Yeah, exactly. So the reason they use small amounts of cobalt is the cobalt apparently helps the rate of performance, the rate at which the power is delivered. About 10% of cobalt appears to be necessary to enhance the rate properties of the battery. I think it's part and parcel to them, getting to 250 kilowatt with V3 supercharging and stuff. So that's the reason they use cobalt. Now, I'm sure they have other chemistries and stuff that probably won't affect it quite as much, but that's the reason they've traditionally used cobalt. So obviously with new chemistries that are coming, and we have Battery Day coming soon, hopefully, where Tesla will lay it all out and say, look, we have new batteries with XYZ. And anyways, I'm really looking forward to that because I think that it's going to be pretty breakthrough. Our friend Sean Mitchell, who does the All Things EV YouTube channel. Apparently talked to some people. He's under NDA. He can't disclose what he knows, but even he is very excited about that. So looking forward to having that. By the way, we will have Sean on the show fairly soon. He has some stuff to discuss as far as what's going on in, I think it was Colorado, regarding some legislature stuff. So anyways, he couldn't make it tonight, but he was willing to join in. All right, moving on. Elon says that they will ramp the amount of service loaners at service centers when repairs take longer. This comes from our friends at the John at Silicon Valley Owners Club. He had asked Elon if if Tesla will ramp the amount of loaners for each service center, particularly when high-dense places like Palo Alto members are taking. They're saying members aren't getting loaners for work that's done on warranty when it takes about 2 weeks. Elon said that he was going to take action on that. So hopefully they'll fix that. Again, the loaner situation, they've been not doing as much loaner stuff as they have been. They're doing more of the Uber credits for people that need short-term. So
I'll see what I get tomorrow. I'm taking the car in for hardware 3.
Oh, yes, that's right.
So we'll see.
Did they tell you how long it takes? I've heard anywhere from 5 to 24 hours to do this stuff. I guess it all depends on the software, right?
No, nothing. No, just nothing. I actually
expect 24 hours.
And I tried to reach out to one of the service guys over there, but didn't get a call back. So
Earl just had his done, and it took 24 hours. And our friend Melinda, who's one of the forum moderators, had hers done. I think it was only 5 hours for hers. So it seems to be all over the map.
I think it's a matter of prioritizing and what's on the schedule for that day, because I can't imagine they would take a long, long time, especially for Model 3s when it's in the glove compartment. It's not hard to get access to it.
Well, I don't think it's that. My understanding from talking to people that have had it done is that it's the software. They have to re-download the software and re-image it, and that's the thing that sometimes it takes, sometimes it doesn't. They have to redo it several times.
Well, I'm not using dial-up.
No, it's not the dial-up thing.
I know, but I'm saying, I can't imagine that if they're using SaaS as a solution now, that it's going to take 20 hours to do the entire thing. If it's let's say it's 2 hours of labor, it can't be 18 hours of downloading and updating software. That would be ridiculous. Because if you're talking a fleet of hundreds of thousands of cars that are getting FSD at some point, that would not be a logical thing they're going to do, even if they're phasing it in steps now. Like, I know cars come with HW3, but if you're still going to eventually use software for some of the changes, I would think it'd have to be a little bit easier than that. But again, it could just be like who's scheduled in the service center, who knows how to do the upgrades, how many cars are on the schedule for that day, what sort of appointments came up last minute, what can mobile text do, it's probably a number of different conditions. 24 hours at least is their buffer. But I would suspect it probably takes closer to 8 hours on average than it is the 24.
I should reach out to a couple of my service techs that I know and see what they say.
Yeah, I got notified, or I got confirmed probably in early February, or no, it was probably January now. Yeah, it was January. It was early to mid-January, and I was still surprised that the date was February 20th, and I'm like, really that far out? And at that time, only a few people I knew online had it. I know Joy had gotten hers, and then it was funny because people have gotten theirs scheduled and delivered before I've even had mine installed. But in a way, it's kind of good. Let's let them get used to it and make it faster. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that we're right here at the epicenter. You should know how to do it. You've done a couple by now, and it should be easier. So
I love how Raj has used two terms for California: epicenter and far out. Both in each of them the opposite of what normally they're used for.
He's not even a native Californian.
Like epicenter normally means a bad thing. He uses it as a good way, but when he says far out, man, it's like, damn, that's just far out. That's
At least he didn't say groovy.
My kid's gonna have 4 birthdays before this thing gets installed.
Listen, after it gets installed, it's gonna be rad.
I predict the video.
There's another one.
By the way, I find it funny that folks who get it, the first thing they do is put a video. Go, look, I can see cones and traffic lights. I'm like, congratulations on spending $3,000 so you can see traffic lights on your car's display.
True enough.
Get out of here with that nonsense. I get it. It's great. You paid $3,000 for traffic lights and cones, which it was funny when Raphael and Tetzlatino on his Twitter account had put a short video with Nate McComb, Purple Model 3. where Nate was sitting in his car adjacent to Raphael's car. And Raphael's like
funny.
looking at the screen going, what? There's a cone. And he pans the camera over to where Nate is. And he goes, I'm a cone. Look, I'm a cone. Like,
That was pretty funny.
That's money well spent.
To be honest, that's something that I've thought of is like, do I even make a video on this or not? Because it's like, what
Dude, you were the
really
first
showing?
to do a video on FSD3 when the visualizations came out.
Well, that's true.
That's the only thing that's really going to give
don't.
you.
Yeah. The only thing that I thought of is that it may be good because we're so like into it. We know everything that's going on, and there's a lot of people who just go
That's
for,
true.
like the flat tire thing. I mean, I look at that as like that's pretty trivial. But there was a lot of people who was like, "Wow, I had no idea. Thanks for So a lot of this stuff is educational, and to me, that like I love doing that. And so I may just do it just to explain, like, hey, what is hardware 3? I'm sure there's some people that like, don't even know what the heck hardware they have, what date range it is, what does hardware 3 mean, what are you going to get at this point, what is it mean after so and so. So I may do something. I don't know. We'll see.
I mean, the tire one's a big deal because, I mean, there are a lot of folks that walk into a Tesla showroom and will say, well, there's no spare tire. What happens if I get a flat? Your video answers that question if you happen to experience that.
We have a question later on. Hold it for
No, I know.
Oh, okay.
I'm not going to dig deep into that. But at least there's a lot of content out there for Tesla owners that if you really search, I mean, the first results on Google will show you most of the answers you're looking for on does my car do blank or how do I do blank with my Tesla. Your video is, I think, one of the rare ones I've ever seen where the actual experience of contacting Tesla for roadside assistance, then sort of documenting the entire experience of the mobile tech coming out, changing the wheel, and and from your perspective, what you obviously had hoped would not be the result, but of course what ended up being the result of having to replace the tire. But that's not, a lot of folks don't do that. But whenever there's a software update, I'll see 25 posts in the first couple of hours from bloggers who are logging the release notes or people who are doing the thing, and I'm like, okay. And then what happens is you get Tesla envy where people are like, I don't have to download. I'm checking my Wi-Fi. Is it working? I don't know. What's going, guys? I'm missing out. Like, it was released 8 minutes ago on Twitter. Can you all calm down? That's what happens. People get the stuff first and everyone's like, where's mine?
Software updates is like a Christmas thing, Everybody wants, they want to unwrap their presents right away.
Well, think about like when Apple servers go nuts when everyone's trying to download a new iOS update. At some point people are like, I got to wait 2 hours for the download? What the hell is this? Calm down.
True.
You won't hear an Android user say that. Ooh, burn.
I'm sorry. What's the adoption rate for Android users? Please, let's discuss.
Oh, wait, that's not
Oh
good.
God, I don't want to go down this.
All right, we got to go back. Let's go back to some news. Listen, looks like the Gigafactory Berlin progress continues, but there's still a time crunch to be cleared, to have the trees cleared by mid-March. This article comes from our friends at Inside EVs. Tesla has to complete preparations by mid-March or the construction might be delayed by 6 to 9 months. Media reports that the Berlin-Brandenburg Higher Administrative Court has temporarily halted the site preparation for the Tesla Gigafactory 4, also known as Gigafactory Berlin. The reasons are environmental concerns raised by activists, a local environmentalist group called the Green League of Brandenburg. The court said that they have ordered Tesla to stop clearing forests near the land near the Berlin capital to build its first European car and battery factory. The court ruling comes after the state environmental office gave a green light to clear 92 hectares of forest for the plant. It should be noted that this forest is a tree farm, and it was due to be cut down eventually anyways. They're saying planning permission has not been granted yet to build the Gigafactory. However, Elon Musk's company is preparing the ground at its own risk. It should not be assumed that the motion seeking legal protection brought by the Green League lacks any chance of succeeding, the court statement added. Tesla's in a hurry because preparation must be completed by mid-March. Otherwise, construction could be delayed 6 to 9 months due to the wildlife breeding period. So it's not necessarily the trees themselves. In this case, this early part of it is due to a lot of wildlife. I mean, we've talked about this in the past before. They had some endangered bats, and I also saw some pictures that look like some anthills or something like that they had to move. I've seen all kinds of stuff. I have a friend of mine who built a fancy home by the beach, and he had to go 3 consecutive nights of not seeing these endangered toads, so to speak. They had to build a corral and make sure there was no toads in there. Anyways, lots and lots of environmental stuff sometimes, even though they're not really endangered because there are lots of toads around. But anyways, that's beside the point. All right. So I don't know. We'll keep an eye on this. I mean, I don't expect the Gigafactory in Berlin to be as fast as the China one. That's for sure. But yeah, they got to move because Europe needs cars cheaper and faster. This whole business of Tesla making cars at the start of a quarter to ship them off to Europe, just for everybody to wait to the end of the month or the end of the quarter to be able to get cars in North America is not good for logistics. This is a thing that Tesla suffers from a lot of times because they got to realize the profits of the cars by the end of the quarter, so they have to do these shifts. I mean, there's people on the forum say, I just ordered, and my car is not due for 6 to 8 weeks. And I'm like, well, that's just because of the way Tesla produces their cars. This is why they need more factories. There's also been talk recently. Elon has said that was it a poll he posted? How about Gigafactory in Texas?
Yeah.
Right?
And then change his location to Austin.
Yeah. Keep it weird, man.
Yes.
I really feel like we should name the show the Trevor Reads the Internet podcast.
Sorry, bud.
The trip.
Speaking of the Berlin thing, I mean, Tesla has put up a webpage. You can go to tesla.com/gigafactory-Berlin. And they're looking for jobs. They're talking about some construction in here. So they're saying that they're hoping to be expected to begin in 2020 with a production targeted for 2021. Phase 1 will focus on Model Y with a target capacity of 10,000 vehicles per week.
Mm-hmm.
So they also go on to say that it will have a solar roof and aims to be renewable to help Germany and Brandenburg achieve its ambitious Energiewende objectives. I hope I pronounced that properly. If the German folks have a problem with that, well, I apologize. So, last but not least, one last article. This is courtesy of the Asian Review and Nikkei.com. It appears that Tesla, their electronics in the Model 3, are about 6 years ahead of Toyota and Volkswagen.
Oops.
Yeah, well, basically the article says that what stands out for is Tesla's integrated central control unit, or the full self-driving computer, also known as Hardware 3. One of the Japanese engineers at the automaker examined the computer and says, we just can't do this. Apparently, there's nothing really stopping Toyota or Volkswagen from actually doing what Tesla's doing. It's just because their supply chain is not set up the way Tesla is. Tesla's very vertically integrated. A lot of their circuit boards, their chips and stuff. I mean, look at Hardware 3. I mean, that's all Tesla internal. That was all designed by them. Circuit boards, I mean, you've seen motors taken apart, inverters taken apart. It has Tesla logos. They do their own circuit boards. Mm-hmm. I also think that Tesla has considerably less circuit boards. Well, not circuit boards. I should go back. CAN bus modules than most other manufacturers use for their cars because, I mean, they have a central computer that does most of the talking rather than relying on separate computers trying to talk to one another, built by different manufacturers and trying to get them all to talk to one another. Anyways, any thoughts on this? I mean, I think it's no surprise to me that this kind of thing happens. I mean, Tesla's vertically already integrated in many different ways. 80% of their plastics, from my understanding, is all done in-house. They build their own motors. They build their own drive inverters. Battery packs are all done in-house. Battery cells very soon.
Yeah, I think it follows the Apple model. Apple did the same kind of thing, right? Early on, they were relying on they had a vision and they relied on other tech to get them there and build what they were looking to build. And as they learned, they grew and brought all that stuff in-house. And when you have everything in-house, you control it fully. So you control that customer experience end to end. You put in wherever you want. You're not limited. So I mean, I think it's great. And if that doesn't give you a sign of where Tesla's headed, then I don't know what will.
Yeah, well, as long as you understand that being vertically, I mean, it has challenges, and I think a lot of ways Tesla ended up being vertically integrated by necessity, not necessarily by desire. If you go back and look at their history, when they built the Roadster originally, they had to sell it almost at a loss. It ended up costing way more than anticipated because they mistakenly thought they could do what other manufacturers did, which was, well, we'll just design the car and we'll do final assembly and everybody else will build everything. Well, it turns out that's true, but the problem is when you can't get suppliers to return your calls or nobody wants to do proper work for you, you don't get the pricing that you need. So the supply chain with cars, I mean, there's a lot of shared parts with a lot of cars. I mean, Volkswagen Group, God, they share so many parts with their different cars. It's not even funny. So in Tesla's case, they had to go vertically integrated because they couldn't get the pricing. They couldn't get the suppliers. Yeah. They're better footing now. I mean, they made a lot of noise about the Model 3 having A-list suppliers now instead of B or C-list suppliers. But I mean, the other thing too was I remember when the Model X, when they were trying to get the seats going, they had a lot of problem with the seats in the Model X, specifically the second row seats. They ended up bringing that all in-house. So now they make all the seats for the Model 3 in-house. So that was out of necessity. It's not that they couldn't get the parts. It's just the suppliers just didn't do their part. Same thing, Model X Falcon wing doors. They had a German company trying to engineer that stuff, and they screwed up. So Tesla brought it back. It set them back 6 months, but anyway, it's not the first time. So yeah, they're in there, and I think in some ways that Tesla now sees it as a strategic asset for them. So we'll see.
I mean, I'm also in general a proponent for that. I mean, I think a lot of businesses tend to outsource things to companies that will do it on the cheapest contract they can, because the workers generally don't get paid a lot, so that's why it's a lot cheaper. And for Tesla to do it right, to largely do it in-house, to hire a lot of U.S. workers, to have factories here in the U.S., now expanding globally with Gigafactory Berlin and with Gigafactory in China, they're at least trying to, expand their footprint globally. But ideally, they've been a U.S. company for the large part of their existence, and for them to do it that way, I think is a very noble effort to do.
Well, it's paying off for them. FineLab has a line of protective coatings that were engineered to protect your Tesla's paint, leather, carpet, plastic, and wheels, effectively blocking all those UV rays and environmental factors before they ever get to ruin your brand new baby. FineLab offers a complete line of car care products and ceramic coatings for both the do-it-yourselfer and professional detailers. Did we mention we also have the world's first self-healing coating? Check us out at finelab.com, that's spelled F-E-Y-N-L-A-B, to see the science behind the self-healing. Check out our product catalog and click Contact Us for a free quote from a certified installer in your area. FineLab and Tesla. We were meant for each other. All right. Well, we've come to the end of the news, thankfully. Let's move on to the section where we answer viewer and listener questions. Again, just as a reminder, if you want to send us questions for the show, follow my Twitter account. That's at Model 3 Owners, or you can just search for Tesla Owners online. The day that we do the podcast, typically on Thursdays, but because we had some scheduling conflicts and stuff, we decided to do it early this week on Wednesday. Anyways, we put out a Google form where you can submit questions. So, having said that, let's move on here. First question comes from Larry. He says, has anyone had a tire blowout while on Navigate on autopilot? How did the computer handle it? Bueller?
While on Navigate on autopilot, I would hope that it would throw up warnings and slow the car down and pull you over.
Man, the last time I had a tire blowout was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Can't answer that one. Sorry, Larry. Don't know. I would hope with Tesla's active safety that they would detect something like that. I mean, at very least, it would detect loss of tire pressure, which Raj, you're familiar with.
Yeah, and that was kind of interesting too. Is that I was reporting 40 psi, which is ridiculously low, but I was still able to drive completely normal. So I don't know. I mean, that kind of makes you wonder if that would it slow down? Would it stop? I mean, at 40, it should have basically limited my speed. That's what I would think. Actually, brings up a good point. Software should be able to say, hey, you're at 40 psi in one of the tires. There's no way, even if you're like on the track, you're not going to be at 40. So there's no reason for you to be that low. Something's wrong. You're limited to speed.
Well, the thing is, I wonder in the context of the question, is he saying a blowout in the traditional sense of a blowout, which is the tires basically just exploded? In which case, my thinking is the car would just make you all of a sudden have to take manual control, and you'd have to steer the car. I don't think any way is going to safely pull you over because you just lost an entire wheel.
But how would the car know that it was a blowout?
I think the sudden drop in pressure might be a good indicator. And
there's the first one.
alert that would tell you. I mean, I've seen a number of times where even just with NOA and AP, that my car, even though there's nothing environmentally that I can see, the car makes me want to take over control for some reason. So that's why, again, hands always need to be engaged with the steering wheel anyway. Yeah. And I'm sure they probably factor that into their software design, which is in extreme cases where you have to suddenly take over, the car is just going to deactivate it. You better be ready to go.
Well, there's only one way to find out.
Let's do a video.
We got to
do a video, man. Who's going to put the car on the line, right?
I'm not signing any waivers. I'm not
putting
doing
the spike strip down. And
hell, who's putting up their car for this test? I'm not.
Well, exactly. I'll put the Cybertruck up against that, but not my precious Model 3.
The cost of one tire. Maybe,
yeah, exactly.
We'd have to reach out to Ian for some help on that one.
Ian's already speeding. Put some scripts out for him to see how his car.
All right, next question comes from Cecil. He says, if your state doesn't allow a showroom, would you have to pay extra taxes when buying a Tesla? I live in Arkansas, but the closest showroom is in Missouri. I know I can order online, but not used to the buying experience going out of state. Thank you. Yeah, I don't know how that works. I mean, Texas suffers from the same thing too. I think they have to. No, wait, how does that work?
So we had a question like this similarly
we did.
Right. So it depends on. All right. So when you buy a car out of the state, likely you have to get a temporary registration. So you have to pay fees to register that car in the state in which you're buying it in. Then when you take the car, relocate it back to your home state, and then you might have to re-register the car. You maybe then hit again with the registration fees. Some people, depending upon the state they live in, the state may allow them to do a registration where you're only getting hit one time versus twice. So it really depends on what your local state registration rules are. A way to know for sure is to speak with your local tax collector's office or with the Department of Motor Vehicles. But usually if you're looking for registering a vehicle, it's with your tax collector. Speak with someone who knows about vehicle registration and ask them that question. You may be able to find the information online. A lot of these sites put that in their FAQs or some other information. You might be able to find it there. But talk with someone who knows. If you're buying a vehicle,
Tesla head office.
Because ideally, if I'm buying a used car if I was buying a used car in Atlanta, Georgia, and I know I registered the car here in Florida, how would that work? I would certainly contact people here in Florida and say, hey, I'm buying a car out of state. What do I do when I want to register it here? They'll tell me what it is. And because usually you have to leave, if you're going to drive the car from one state to the next, it has to be registered. You have to have a tag on it.
Yeah, I would take Eric's advice. It probably warrant a phone call to Tesla head office as well, because they obviously know for that kind of thing. So, yeah, give them a call. Good question, Cecil. Thanks. Jeff asks, on the Model 3, there is a light in the front floorboards. Those are the footwell lights. I only noticed it lights up in the mornings after the first entry into the driver's seat. How do you turn this light on? You can't. It's tied to an ambient light sensor in the car. So it comes on in the mornings or when it's dark. It's just one of those things. Unfortunately, you can't control that. He doesn't mention whether he has ambient lighting in the car.
There is an ambient light button that you can turn on and off.
Yeah, but not all cars have that.
Yeah.
Right? So, all right. Let's see here. Peter has a question for Ian about Model Y tire specs. We're going to skip that one tonight until Ian shows up. If we can, we'll. If
he's setting up right now for recording, so he'll be on shortly.
Oh yeah, did he answer my text?
He did.
Yeah, he did. Okay, very good. Sorry about that. Yeah, so Ian will be on shortly. And, remind me, and you know what? I'm going to put a reminder on that, and we'll come back and ask him that. Okay. Let's see here. Greg asks, since the news the other day about the autopilot being taken away, even though it was never paid for, it raises the question, if I buy FSD, then a year from now sell my car, does the FSD stay with the car, or can Tesla say to the new owner, now needs to pay for FSD? I know supercharging stays with the car, but this would hurt resale value of selling a car, and the new owner has to be FSD or rear heated seats, as an example. FSD is tied to the VIN. It's not an owner registered thing. It doesn't go with the owner. It stays with the car. I did a live stream earlier today with somebody that asked me the same question, and I understand where a lot of people are feeling, in the sense like, why would I buy FSD now, and if I sell my car I have to pay for it again if I want it on the next car, even though the features of FSD that they promise are not here today? Why am I have to pay for it twice? I think there's some people would feel that it would be fair if I pay for FSD now and I sell my car, buy another one, give me some kind of discount or something like that, since it's not. I mean, it's not good for Tesla's coffers to do something like this, but I think in a lot of ways it would help for adoption. I don't know. Any thoughts? Hello, Ian's joined in. How are you?
I understand. I understand the folks who complain about that, but I listen. I'm going to take you back to a long time ago when Windows 95 and 98 were like all the rage in America.
Makes a grown man cry.
When you bought the disc, it was usually tied to a very specific computer, and the license only worked for so many installations. And so when a lot of people say, well, this isn't fair, I can't transfer it. Well, it's the same thing with free supercharging when that was an offer. It's to the vehicle that you're buying it. It's no different than matching I don't know. Like I said, it's like if you're downloading software and you go, okay, well, what device is it on? Okay, what's the information about the computer? That's the only computer that can use it. It's a licensing thing. So I have no problem with it being tied to the device. Because if I buy a license for software, it's technically not tied to me. It's tied to the device that I'm installing it on. I can't just go, hey, here's 25 of my friends. I'm just going to post this on Twitter. Now here's the download. Now go get the software. That's not how that works. So I understand the cost investment, but that's the choice you're making if you're electing to buying it now before it's fully rolled out versus you keeping your car. If in your mind you're not going to have your car for a long time, while it seems like it's an added value to have it, then great. Then it'll go with the car to the next person. Right. But that's why you're buying it. You're buying it to increase the value of your car, not
that's the way I look at it.
Bank account. Like, and to me, that's a selfish rationalization. Like, I mean, it sounds kind of harsh to say it that way, but seriously, if you're spending $3,000 early for FSD, it's not for you; it's for your car. So it's no different than if you wrap your car. If you get into an accident, your insurance company's not paying for the wrap you put on because that's not what came with the car. But if you bought FSD, then that increases the value of your car.
Yeah.
And if you feel like you're not getting anything with it, you are getting a pretty badass computer with it.
Yeah.
That's one way to look at it. That's the way I looked at it.
Ian, thank you for joining us.
Hello, gentlemen. How's everybody doing?
I'm very well, thank you.
We're almost done.
Raj is here. Eric is here.
Yeah, nice.
Ian was on the road. That's why he couldn't join us. Ian, do you want to answer a question real quick, or do we want to talk about something that's going on?
It's tires.
It's tire related.
It's definitely tire related.
How you feeling?
Everything in my world is.
The wheels in the bus go round and round.
They do. They've been going round and round a lot in the last 36 hours.
So the question is, since now that we have some idea on the Model Y tire specs, what would be a reasonably priced winter tire recommendation for the Ontario winters? And what about wheels, assuming an upgrade from black steel rims?
I'm gonna hold off just a little longer because we want to be 1,000% sure on the specs. We have the tire sizing; that's relatively easy, and I mean there's a whole plethora of tires. I'm reluctant to go and start throwing out recommendations on winter tires for the same reason I do with anything else. It's really dependent on what the customer's needs are. So I highly recommend that anybody looking for that answer would join the forum. And we have really excellent discussion groups, both for summer / all seasons, and then a different one for winter tires for Model 3. The rationale is going to be about the same. The sizes are not the same, and you might find there's one or two models that apply to Model 3 that don't apply in Y and vice versa. But the whole discussion is like, how do you drive? How far do you drive? Are you an aggressive driver, a mild driver? Do you want absolute ice and snow performance, which is over here? Or do you really want like lots of grip when it's nice out with some ice and snow performance, so a higher speed tire? There's this whole litany of questions. So I ask people, give me your top 5 list. What are the 5, wear, snow, ice, whatever. They have to be quiet. They have to be long wearing. They have to be low price. Price doesn't matter. Rank that stuff in order. Throw it on the forum. And then we can dissect it. I'm sure we'll start a separate one for the Model Y once they start rolling out. But for now, I would say let's just be 1,000% sure, particularly on the wheel specs, because there's certain things like the load rating for the axles and things that we don't have yet. I'm 99% sure. Well, I know the numbers, but I want to see hard numbers like actual placards and so on the vehicle to be 1,000%.
How could you be so sure?
That's a CYA answer if I ever heard one.
That's what I do.
That's one of the shortest wheel questions he's ever answered.
I try.
All right. Let's move on to a few other questions here, and we can talk about some other stuff here in a second. Thomas asks, not 100% a Tesla question, but an EV one. My parents have a Leaf. Model 3 was too expensive for them. Given the fact that it has CHAdeMO, and CHAdeMO's future doesn't seem very bright, do you think the value of the car will drop? Leafs don't generally have, and I'm saying, he doesn't specify which Leaf. The first few gen Leafs don't hold their value all that well. CHAdeMO, I don't think, is really going anywhere in the sense that current third-party fast charging stations all have CCS and CHAdeMO anyways. But as far as the industry is concerned, the industry is all going CCS. Do I think that affects the resale value of the car? No, not particularly.
I don't think in the short term it doesn't.
No, I don't think so. All right, next question comes from Luc. He says, I have ordered a Model Y. I want to trade it in. I want to trade in my Model 3. Does Tesla do a fair trade-in, or do I absolutely should sell it on your own? You answered your own question. Absolutely sell it on your own.
Now,
Tesla's not... Yes, Eric?
I do want to add, okay, I'm not sure if this has changed. So say you bring in your vehicle to Tesla to do a trade-in, and they give you a value in the car. I'm just going to throw a number out there. Let's say it's $20,000. If you're not happy with the figure and you think your car is worth more, take it to CarMax. CarMax will do a free assessment on your vehicle. No obligation, just they'll weigh the car and give you a price on the spot. It's valid for 7 days. So let's say you take that $20,000 assessment, and CarMax, without knowing anything, gives you $29,000 or $27,000 or whatever it is. You take that assessment while it's still valid in those 7 days back to Tesla. They honor that price.
There you go.
And CarMax is pretty good about giving you fair market value for a vehicle.
Yes, I've heard that.
Yeah.
So if selling it privately is a cumbersome experience, I can tell you, being on both sides of it, it's not fun.
No.
There's obviously exchanging of funds. You want to get a certified location to do it. You want to touch. If you want to make the process so simple, Tesla does it. The car goes off the auction. It's just a piece of cake. But honestly, if you feel like Tesla gives you a value less than what you're expecting, either your expectations are false, or just see if you can get a better value through CarMax, and then Tesla will take the higher of the two.
Sure. All right, next question comes from Dominic. He says, the infotainment system can play MP3 files from a USB stick, but can it play video? The answer is no. At least not yet.
I don't want to know.
The reason I say that is because a lot of people have been asking for the ability to view Sentry Mode clips on the screen. Not necessarily remotely, although that's probably coming in the future, but it would be really nice. I mean, Raj, you have a roadie, right?
Yeah.
How do you find that?
It's actually been great. Super convenient. I mean, I think that was the whole thing, is that it could eventually come up on the screen. How do you get it straight to your app? I think Elon did shoot down pretty hard that it would be able to be streamed to your phone, because he talked about data usage and so forth. So immediately I was like, okay, but what's just the most convenient way? Because it is cumbersome. I got to unplug it, and then I got to plug it in my phone. And if I bring it
one of the
into my
reasons I don't
computer-
look at my footage as often as I should.
Yeah, and so now it's like, and I've literally done this. So in my video, I made a comment where I was like, yeah, then you don't look dumb, where you're all like next to your car, you're looking at an angle to see if there's any dents, and then validating whether you should look at the clips or not. This way, I just get in my car and I fire up the roadie.
Now,
app
for
and I
those
start
who don't know
scrolling through.
what roadie is, can you very quickly tell people what this thing is?
Yeah, it's basically so the company has made they've just taken a Raspberry Pi, and there's a custom software loaded on there, put into a nice clean box, and you're plugging in Raspberry Pi, and a Raspberry Pi is basically just a mini computer, and its benefit is that it has Wi-Fi built into it. So essentially, you're not dependent on your home Wi-Fi, but it gives off a Wi-Fi signal. It connects to your phone can connect to it, and you're able to just stream and watch the footage on your phone immediately, download it. And so it comes with a custom built app that you download from the App Store, and you can actually download the app and kind of give it a free trial without actually the roadie hardware, just to see what it's like. And the ability to be able to do that, actually someone just commented on that. They got into an accident literally like a week after getting their roadie, and while they were waiting for police to arrive, he had downloaded the clip, ready to go, showed it to the police officer. Police officer was like, yep, you're not at fault, signed up everything, and they were on their way. So yeah, it's been really convenient. I've been happy with it. I did talk to the creator, and they're like, Tesla could do anything and completely destroy your product. While that's true,
Yes.
But I don't know. It just, for right now, I mean, you never know when Tesla's going to do something. But for right now, it's a happy medium, and the ability I could be sitting on my couch watching TV, scrolling through my footage while my car's in the garage, because it connects to the home Wi-Fi. That's also a nice perk.
Does it work as a hotspot as well?
So you mean like it's giving off a Wi-Fi signal, but it's not connecting to like the internet. There's no LTE connection on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, check that out. Next question comes from Alex. It says, I've been scouring Reddit and other online threads trying to find the best estimate of numbers for Model Y orders. I finally ordered a Y soon after the order fee dropped to $100, and I'm anticipating I might get it by the end of the year if the production ramp goes smoothly. What do you consider to be the best estimate? That's a really tough one to answer. The best person that you should be asking is there's a Twitter account called Troy Teslike. He's a real numbers guy, and he's been tracking VINs, Model 3. He tracks order numbers and stuff like that. But I did check his account. He has a spreadsheet for Model Y, but he only has about 300 entries on it. So I don't think it's really relevant in a lot of ways to know exactly how many orders Tesla has on that car. Tesla has not revealed how many Model Y orders that they have. The only thing they've talked about recently is really the Cybertruck. So it's anybody's guess as far as I'm concerned. I'm hoping the ramp is smoother and faster than Model 3, but you never know. But I would suspect that they've taken a lot what they've learned from the Model 3, and hopefully the ramp will be a little faster on Model Y. So if we find out anything, we'll let you know. But right now, we really don't have an answer for you, Alex.
I wonder, too, if the question really is more about reservations versus orders.
Well, he says ordered.
Orders is a hard number to get because there's not a lot of orders.
Well,
like Model 3, the number of orders in the first couple of months was very, very low relative to how many reservations there were.
That's semantics at this point. Yes.
No, I know, but I wonder if he's really thinking of honest orders of them trying to build the car for release coming up in March, or if it's really about reservations. Reservations, I would say, you're probably well over 200,000.
Mm-hmm.
Easy.
Okay. All right. Let me, in the interest of a time, we're going to kind of skip through here and kind of go through some of these as best we can. Unless you want to read some of them, Eric?
I mean, reading is good. You want me to just go to the next one in order?
Yeah, I need a break for a second, so go ahead.
Okay, please have some water. Premium connectivity this is from Naranjan. Premium connectivity of $9.99 will be a better customer value if more additional streaming options are available, like Google Play or YouTube Music. Are those in the works, and when can we expect those to appear via an over-the-air update?
The only thing that I have heard that I was told by an engineer somewhere around the Cybertruck event was Apple Music. No timeline given.
Which somebody had a question.
I don't know anything more. I was just said Apple Music is in the works. So take it as you will. It could be axed. Who knows?
Yeah,
who knows?
I think a lot of the stuff is really dependent on the ability to use the software web-based. So right, a lot of things, if it's web-based, there's a high chance that it can be easily implemented. So I know that
you can bring up Apple Music beta. You can bring it up in the browser.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think when you're in park, I've heard somebody was saying you can play it. As soon as you hit drive, it stops it. So basically, there's something in there that needs to define it as, hey, this is music, and let it play or whatever.
I'm also of the mindset that if you have an iPhone and you have Apple Music on it, you can stream it through Bluetooth. I mean, exactly. There's this weird
Spotify's the same way too.
I just want my car to have it. I'm like, but your car can do it already without the need for having the capabilities already pre-installed in the software. Like your phone can talk to your car. That seems to be kind of easy, but
hands-free legislation too, right? You got to keep that in mind.
Well, I'm saying, but once you're connected, all the controls are in your car's audio. Like the steering wheel, I can skip, pause, play. Like I don't understand what the problem is.
That's not.
I know.
I did that with Spotify, and I hated it. Now,
no, I know. I know there's limitations, but you're making these engineers, work around the clock to do a thing that your car can kind of already do. I mean, look, the YouTube thing's pretty cool because if you're charging, you can watch a video for 10 minutes while you're there. That's kind of nice. And we were in Orlando, and Trevor's like, you can send it from your phone, right? You can actually just do the search from there, which is much faster. But yeah, like if Apple Music comes and nothing else does, that's okay. You have a multitude of options now for audio listening now. So
I don't think there's any question that a lot more of these services will make their way. It's just a matter of engineering resources and demand,
and what they're permitted to do. For that matter.
What's the next question, Eddie? Eric. Comes from Eddie.
Thanks, Tim. I had mobile service come to my house to replace the charge port pins as part of a service bulletin. what exactly was the issue with the original pins, and this is the only bulletin to be issued for the Model 3.
I can answer that one because I had it done.
In here?
In the I think the correct term is the pawl, the little pin, which goes in and locks the handle in position when when your charge handle is in there, had a tendency to ingest water. Basically, if water somehow got around the handle it would go down to the bottom of that area. It would go into the tiny little gap around the pin, and it would start accumulating in the actuator, the little piston that would move the pin in and out. And what would happen in winter is that would freeze, and then that prevents the pin from moving. And of course, it always happens at the worst time when that charge handle is like in there and you can't get it out. So your car is now welded to the charger, which is not good. Been there, done that. So what happens is they change that little actuator part for a new design that's got a drain on it. And the new one that they're installing now, I think all of the cars in production have had them since April, I want to say, of 2018. So almost a year now. But there's 3 versions of it. There was the original one. There was a second version, which used some type of a silicone O-ring, if I remember correctly. And that one was almost immediate fail. And I think it only lasted about a month. And they got rid of that. And the new one is a superior one, which has a completely different actuator on it. And it has a drain, which is what the Montreal engineers told me they were going to put on it from day one. The guy actually came to my house to fix it the first time and says, I can just drill a hole in the bottom of this thing. It'll be perfect for life. He says, but Fremont will kill me. So I said, okay, let's not do that. You seem like a nice guy. I don't want, your head on a poster. But yeah, so basically that's it. So the new generation's got the drain. They work amazing. That's the one I have. And I mean, I've had tons of ice, tons of water, whatever. Nothing stops it. It works beautifully.
I've not had any issues with mine. So
yeah, they've replaced mine, and I'm here in Florida. So go figure.
Did you get a new one? Seriously?
Yeah, when I had a mobile tech come out and do my A-pillar replacement, and then he's like, "While I'm here, I gotta," did that in like 30 seconds.
Okay.
Nice. Well, if the car ever winds up being sold to the north, at least it's there.
Yeah, exactly.
Last
next question.
Sell my car to the what? What?
Hey, it's allowed now, apparently.
Yeah.
Yes,
Renee asks, on a 1,200-mile Arizona road trip, we saw between 40 kilowatts to 140 kilowatts of charging on the SR Plus at standard superchargers, where they had 10% state of charge, and they were not sharing between A and B stalls. What is the best way to find the fastest rate of charging besides stall hopping? For example, an on-screen stall health status as you arrive would be nice, where green indicates fast, et cetera, et cetera.
I could not agree more. We'll get into that story in a few minutes.
Yep, I agree 100%. But right now, you don't have a choice. Stall hopping is your friend.
It would be nice if they can do it from the car when you're driving. So if you select the station, you can see which ones are currently in use, which ones are not. If they can also sort of color code which ones are.
My experience with the whole stalls in use thing, there's so much of a delay that it's never accurate, I find. Yeah. I mean, it can give you a rough idea, but by the time you get there, it's like it's so I don't know what the delay is, but it's never worked 100% for me. But
no, they've got to fix that. It would have saved me 2 major incidences in the last month. Last night being one of them.
Brian asks, if Elon thinks feature complete will be soon, when do you think we'll start seeing beta features of autonomous supercharging stations, either new construction or remodeled and retrofitted?
I think it's way too soon for that.
I think so too.
FSD is at least 2 years away, really, to be deployed as far as the robotaxi network, to even consider investing in updating any of the superchargers with autonomous charging.
I would say probably in the next decade.
That's pretty safe.
I would say closer to 2030.
I think you would win that bet, but
yeah.
Listen, I won the bet, by the way. I'm not going to gloat here, but I won the bet, by the way, about the air suspension not coming to the Model 3.
You did. I was impressed.
Elon confirmed it himself.
What was the wager on that, boys? Was there a wager involved?
I don't know, but I just know I was pounding the table over and over again. Like, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
I have to go back and see how much I owe you now.
Damn it. All right.
Oh, boy.
Sandwich.
Better be gluten-free. Kenneth asks, I'm going on a road trip in September in his Model S from Michigan through the Upper Peninsula to Ontario, taking the new supercharger network to Hope, British Columbia. Will I still have NOA, dumb summon, as he calls it, and smart summon? Also, how are the roads on Highway 1? my Canadian friends.
Well, if he has NOA now, assuming he has FST or EAP, it doesn't say exactly when he bought his car. When you cross over, yeah, you don't lose that. You have that. There was a time when the U.S. got NOA and Canada didn't. It was geofenced. There was
Right.
many people that went down to the U.S., rebooted their car, put an entry in, and even if it routed them back to Canada, they would have NOA until they crossed the border, and once their trip was over with, they would revert. My experience, having gone down to Florida because I have FSD, I thought I would get the FSD visualizations. When I was in Florida, I rebooted my car several times, never showed up. So it was certainly not geofenced in that case. So there's something else at foot here as far as that's going. So
Steven asks, for those with hardware 3 that did not purchase full self-driving, do the enhanced visualizations show up? Also, is it just me, or have software updates been very few and far between recently? Well, the latter is yes. There's been fewer.
Yeah.
But yeah, do the visualizations show up for those that do not have FSD?
No.
That's right.
You won't get them because there's a dedicated button. Raj, you've seen it. Enable FSD visualizations beta, and that only shows up if you have FSD hardware 3 in your car and you've paid for FSD. So it's one of those things. It's like right now it's kind of eye candy. But it is something that they will have. Yeah, it's total eye candy, and it is something that they will have as part of. And they're going to add more stuff. Right now, it's trash can cones and lights and railway crossings and who knows what else. I mean, puppy dogs and cats. Who knows?
Yeah.
So it will be added on. But unless you have FSD, what's the point of having it on there if you can't act on it?
Mm-hmm.
So anyway,
next question from Dan. He says, address the Model Y performance option. What if you want everything except for the 21-inch wheels?
Well, you can't. The only thing you can order right now is the performance. Buy your own wheels. Exactly.
Good plan.
Is someone playing over there? What was that sound in the background? That was kind of loud. Andrew asks, do you think Tesla will ever support older Model S and X vehicles with better support options? For example, he drives a 2013 P85, knows he can't get autopilot or FSD, but could benefit from a paid retrofit of side cameras to enable Sentry Mode. So what do you guys think? Retrofit? Yay or nay?
No.
I say no.
I don't think it's going to happen.
Tesla's
Jason,
good as
negative.
Yeah, no.
say,
Tesla's
Jason-
good about keeping the software updates, but as far as computers are concerned and all that other stuff, Tesla's been, they're pretty much obsoleting those cars in that respect. So, yeah.
By the way, can we quickly address how Tesla stock was today?
A little crazy. What did it hit? What did it hit?
There was a point where I looked at it. It was up 70 some odd dollars to like 644. Or I'm sorry, 644. Excuse me, 944. One point today.
Wow.
It's insane. Look, we're going to see these fluctuations. I know we keep saying we're going to have like an expert on the market on our show sometime. That'll happen sometime this millennium, I'm sure. We've seen market fluctuations happen all the time. You know, a news story can come out where all of a sudden Tesla stock was crazy, and then 9 hours later, after the market closes, some news story comes out, and then the stock price all of a sudden plummets after market closes. To me, it's more of over a long-term pattern. How is it going to perform? When I've seen Apple stock, for example, skyrocket in one day, and all of a sudden it normalizes within a few days after that. But over the course of a month, it might be averaging a lot higher. So these little things are crazy, but it's amazing how the scandal happened. We're talking about a year ago when Elon said if it hits 420, we're going to go private, and now we're looking at $9.50 a share. A year later. Not even a year later. It's insane.
Well, I mean, we got our first taste of this when we were in Florida. I mean, remember we were just sitting there looking at this price and we're like, oh my God. And he was like, we got to put a backstop on this because it's going to be some kind of bubble. And even I said on Twitter, this is a bubble, you watch out. And everybody's called me every name in the book. And sure enough, it's back up again. But
I kind of feel like it did settle down. It was skyrocketing up 900 plus, and then it settled back down to like 800s, and then here we are, we're back up again. So I feel like it did have its settle. I don't know, I just think a lot of people are now, it's now getting the light that they've deserved, and they're evaluating it as like a tech company as well and not just a car company. And when you look at other tech companies, I mean, look at the way they're priced.
Yeah.
So it's just...
It will not surprise me when Model Y begins delivering, and then when semis happen, hopefully towards the end of the year, that their stock is sustained over 1,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm waiting
Totally
for those
possible.
4 digits.
Totally possible.
Yeah. All right. Just a few more questions here. Deep asks, since he sold his Tesla stock, he lives in sunny California. Hooray. He's got a lead foot. So, Trevor, not your kind of driver. His total commute is less than 50 miles round trip per day, but he plans in the next 6 months to have a commute that will double that to about 100 miles round trip. Is it worth paying for extra long range?
Yes.
All right. You two guys that live in the warmer states, this is your thing. Answer.
Yeah. Go ahead, Raj. You're the guest of the show. I'll let you have it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm sure that everyone else will agree. Range is king. If you're going to do 100 miles each way, that's 200 miles round trip. Let's just say...
I think it's 100 miles round trip.
It's 100 round trip. He drives 50 round trip
trip
now, but it'll be double that later.
100 miles.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so 100 miles round trip. Let's factor in, 20 to 30 miles range loss in the cold. And let's say that's not even a blistering cold. So, but you got to factor in that. You're at now, 150. I mean, I don't know. I think you're just future-proofing yourself. Right, it's less time that you have to kind of stop, and I don't know. It's not something that you can upgrade later. So
the answer is yes, and I'll tell you why it's yes. Look how big California is. It's a big state. If you want to drive from say LA to San Francisco, damn it, it's a long range car. I mean, if I were to live in like New England, where the states are remarkably smaller, it may not be that big a deal if I'm driving from say Boston to Hartford, Connecticut. It's a whole big deal if you're driving in California, because even driving within Southern or Northern California, even amongst those different areas, it's quite a commute from one to the next. So even if you don't normally make trips like that, just knowing you have the extra mileage in your battery pack is a big deal. And if you ever chose to resell your car, that's going to be a driving force as well. You're going to get better value from a car that does go farther, especially now that we're seeing Model S variants that are almost approaching 400 miles, as we mentioned earlier in the show. Selling that car will make a big difference versus one that goes 285.
It's just like a person would come to me and say, well, I'm thinking about the all-wheel drive car, but I'm thinking about FSD. I'd say, well, take the money from FSD and buy yourself the performance car. It's better value.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
and the other thing that I would just say, that I would just add to that, is that, it's always that if it's your first EV, you don't realize how much you're going to like it and how much that you're going to want to drive more. You end up driving more than you do your standard car. I've driven my EV more than I've driven my regular car. And you don't want to be limited to that because you're like, I don't have enough miles to go out to dinner now tonight after I got home from work.
The psychology of having cheaper fuel, in the sense that you're paying an eighth to 10th of the cost for your fuel, your electricity compared to gasoline. I mean, your mind is just like, well, I'll drive 30 miles for ice cream. It's free.
I mean, the cost per mile is
That's the way I look at it.
50% less expensive in an EV than it is in a gas car.
Exactly.
Just crazy. All right, so a couple more questions here. Daniel asks, do you think we'll ever see a CCS adapter for the Model 3 for North American customers?
Yeah. How many times have people asked us this question?
Right?
Yes. Gosh, we need the CCS adapter. It's
I told
available.
we need like an FAQ for the show.
Oh, I know. I really hope that Tesla finally sees the light and gives us some kind of CCS adapter for North America rather than the stupid, expensive, limited CHAdeMO adapter.
How do you really
Please, Tesla, please.
Just tweet Elon. Just tweet at some point. Just set up a bot. Just have him tweet all the time, and then eventually he'll say yes. And
Raj and I will just jump him tomorrow, I guess.
Right.
Yeah, we'll see.
Last question. This is from Sam. It's a good question. After your warranty and free roadside assistance goes away, does Tesla offer a paid subscription like AAA? If not, what do you recommend?
No, they don't have anything. So your best bet is AA in the States or CA in Canada.
So here's a question. So your warranty, but I thought roadside assistance was always there. So I guess the question is, like, I just had my tire replaced, was charged nothing outside of the new tire.
Mm-hmm.
If it should be in 5 years down the line, am I going to be billed an extra fee on top of that tire replacement for them to come out?
Probably.
That's a good question.
I mean, I don't know.
I don't know either.
It would be like a mobile service call at that point, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll find out soon enough, because when some vehicles, some old Model S's start, eclipsing their. I mean, it's one thing to be like out of a certain warranty coverage, but then what happens if your car is completely out of all warranties? Then what? But we'll find out soon, I'm sure, as more and more vehicles come online like that.
Well, roadside assistance, I mean, other than tires, I mean, you're going to flatbed the car, so standard rates kind of apply, right?
I think it depends what they're coming out for. I mean, if you're
guess.
having, if you're having them come out because your 12-volt battery died, is that fully covered? Or in the case like if you're going to have a wheel fixed, that obviously comes at a cost. I mean, sometimes they'll just change the tire and then you can just go, and then at some point they'll deal with the charges later on. But I'm sure you're going to pay for the time the person's doing that eventually. That can't be free forever.
Yeah, exactly. All right.
What do you think, Ian? You're kind of mute on the subject.
Oh, I mute literally because I was just about to lay into some heavy coughing here. My throat is shot. I agree with you. I think ultimately, 9 out of 10, I think roadside assistant things are wheel and tire related. So, how much would Tesla charge as opposed to like a CA membership or something like that? But then, or a AAA. Problem with AAA is they're not going to have like loads of spare Model 3 or Model S wheels and tires pre-mounted as Tesla does. So there is something nice about having that service available to you. But my question is, when does it expire? After the 4-year bumper-to-bumper warranty or after the 8-year powertrain and battery warranty?
Yeah, I don't know. You know what? I'll ask tomorrow.
Yeah, we should find that out, and we'll follow up.
Roger's having some service tomorrow, so he'll let us know. Make sure you tweet it out.
I also wonder, based on where you're at, like, for example, if I'm in the middle of West Texas, which if you've ever driven across I-10, there's not a whole lot there. Even the animals go, why are you here? If all of a sudden you get a flat tire out there, how long is it actually going to take a Tesla mobile service person to come out to your location? Are you waiting a day? Are you waiting for 9 hours? And those sort of things matter as well. Because a person has to drive out that far. For that person, the round trip commute from where they're coming from to where you're at to do the repair, I'm sure you're going to pay something for that. It can't be completely free if you're going to, if you're not local. So I'm sure there's some things involved. It'd be nice to find out. If anyone knows or has a receipt for that, be sure to share it with us. We'd like to find out.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that brings us pretty much to the end of the questions. Yes. And yes, thanks for everybody for submitting. We love these things. And even though some of them are repetitious a little bit, but that's okay.
You don't
we can't expect everybody to watch every episode. And,
yes, we can.
Know exactly what we... Yeah, you should be looking at the catalog. So please watch every episode before you send us a question, because we don't want to repeat ourselves.
Like 19 months.
Well, since Ian has finally joined us on the show, Ian wants to talk about something, and it involves, two of us here on the podcast. So, Ian, take it away.
Once upon a time, there was a very big country which had lovely charging stations at either end, but it was completely empty in the middle. So if you had a Tesla or any other kind of EV, you could drive back and forth in the west and back and forth in the east, but nowhere in the middle. The middle was no man's land. It was a scary, dark place. And then a magical company named Tesla came along and overnight, seemingly, added 25 or 29. How many did they add? Charging stations between Calgary and Sudbury?
20.
Yeah, it's over 20 stations. So yes, magically, all of Canada since December 18th is now connected coast to coast. So you can go from Vancouver, British Columbia, to Halifax in Nova Scotia, Pacific to Atlantic, or vice versa, without interruption. So, of course, the minute that was announced, there was a team out of Victoria that attempted to do it. And Trev, if you got the press release handy, if you could just look that up, and I'd like to give a shout out to the two team members that their names escape my my immediate memory. But in any case, two gentlemen from Victoria, British Columbia, tried to do the trip on December 28th, just a week after the system was completed. And unfortunately, the weather at that point was so bad, and they were on an extremely tight time schedule, so they weren't able to make it. They got as far as from Victoria, they made it as far as Sudbury, Ontario, and then they had to turn around and go back due to time constraints. So,
Kevin Belanger and Don Goodeve.
There you go. So, gentlemen, shout out for that attempt. I was following that, and I was really hoping they were going to make it. I thought that was a great project. But when they turned around and they had a Facebook page going on it, and they said, unfortunately, time constraints, whatever, we can't do it, and we'll maybe try and do it at a later date. But if anybody else wants to give it a try, hey, Godspeed and whatever. Well, meet somebody else. Not long after, I think probably about a month ago, it got really serious where I started having discussions with Trev. It's like just before we went to Florida, I said, what are you doing when you come back from Florida? Want to do something really crazy? And it like, of course, Trev being as insane as me, he said, yeah, I can do that. Why not? So yeah, the idea was born. And then I figured at the same time, we could kind of maybe co-opt it into a little idea to do some promotion with the company for the Fast EV wheels. And of course, our vice president of sales and marketing, Marc-Andre, absolutely loved the idea. He says, yeah, it'd be great, for us to do a little shout out on that line. So he wound up backing us up on the whole trip and helping us out with the costs and everything, which was really nice. And he made us some really swell swag for the project. Wait till you see the jackets and the beanies and the whole thing. So yeah, we managed to put it all together. It was very kind of last minute on my end because I was in terrible shape all the way through Florida, and I still haven't beat whatever virus thing mutation this is.
Don't call it a virus, Jesus.
Well, I don't. It's in any case. The short story is we decided to go for it. So we got Magneto all wrapped up with some cool graphics. We're calling the whole thing the Fast EV Lightning Run. So as you'll see, maybe in post, Trev, you can throw some
I've got pictures up right now.
There you go. Nice.
So there's Ian's car all wrapped up, ready to go.
That's
and,
it.
This is the map. This is the route we're taking, exclusively on the Canadian Supercharger Trans-Canada network.
We'll stay in
about 35 superchargers or so.
How many miles?
It is 5,940 miles. So give or take about 4,000 miles.
No, but hold on, though.
That's one way. That's one way.
Non-stop.
They don't live on the coast. They have to then drive from where they're at to a coastal city and then make the trip.
That is exactly what Ian is doing right now.
That is ridiculous.
Yeah. So I left Montreal yesterday morning at 6 a.m. and I made it as far as White River, Ontario, which is about 1,300 kilometers away.
So you're going all the way out west to Vancouver and then making the trip back east?
Correct.
You're a maniac, man.
I know.
He
loves to drive.
Yeah. Look, man, you're talking to a guy that's got a 7-minute commute to work. You know how bad I'm jonesing at the end of the day to put some miles in this car? So,
I went for driving my car with no reason today. Just
in Florida, I'll put the mileage on for damn sure.
I'll take that offer.
So, Trevor, how is this coming together? How are you joining?
So what's going to happen is on Friday, I'm going to drive my car to Montreal, and I'm going to fly out on Saturday to Vancouver, meet up with Ian, and then we're going to go coast to coast, and then we're going to drive back to Montreal, and then from there I got my car to drive home, so he doesn't have to drop me off.
And where is all of this going to be contained? Is it going to be posted on Twitter? Is it YouTube? Where can everyone find all this?
So I'm hoping if I have internet connectivity that will behave. I'll hopefully do a daily vlog on the YouTube channel, but a lot of it will be on social media. So it'll be mostly on Twitter, maybe a little bit of Facebook, but you know how I feel about Facebook. But on Twitter, I've reached out with the press release to a bunch of different news organizations on both coasts. So hopefully they'll reach out. But yeah, you can follow us on Twitter. The official account for Fast EVs is Fast Wheels. What is it here? Fast Wheels Alloy? No, what is it here?
Well, Fast Wheels
Canada.
Yeah. Fastwheels.ca is the website, and from there you can get our social media links. So Miranda, who's in charge of our social media program in marketing, is going to be taking everything we put and also throwing it out on Facebook. So if you follow Fast Wheels on Facebook,
excellent. That's the best way to do it. Sure.
Yeah, exactly. So for all you Facebook fans, follow the Fast Wheels Facebook. You'll get all of the live updates happening through there.
There'll be showers involved, or we were just using wet naps to clean yourselves like a sponge bath.
We'll do the astronaut thing and sponge bath each other.
There we go.
Ian and I are very good friends.
Yes.
We'll see how the relationship tolerates this by the end. If we were getting into a fist fight midway through, I don't know.
On behalf of all of humanity, don't live stream that.
Come on.
We have lots of audiobooks. We have lots of podcasts to listen to. There'll be lots of discussion stuff. But yeah, you can follow us on social media. We'll be doing some live streaming, some periscopes and stuff like that.
So do you hope to make the entire drive in under 60 hours?
No, 60 is not possible.
No. I did it a bunch of different ways. A better route planner says under ideal conditions, and this is factoring in winter temperatures and winter consumption, it's theoretically possible to do it in 67 hours. Okay. But my experience...
And that's from charging, yes?
Yeah, that's including all of the recharge, because the charging is unbelievably fast. All of those new chargers, basically all 25 new chargers that have been put in the center of the country, 100% V3.
Nice.
So,
wow.
Oh, they're rocking. I mean, I'm now in Brandon.
Ian was sending me pictures. Yeah. You wouldn't believe what he was getting.
Oh yeah, no. Like, at plug-in, like over 200 kilowatts every single time. It was absolutely fantastic. This is on the trip coming out here. So that part,
you plug in, you're like, I have to go to the bathroom, and then like 2 seconds, okay, we're done.
For real. Especially like if you had to cross the street to get to the facilities, you literally ran, got your stuff, whatever. Because the other thing too is, the vast majority of the sites are only about 100 to 150 kilometers apart. So you're talking between 60 and 100 miles. So you can do this rapid fire sequence of charges where you're only charging 5 to 10 minutes. And it's you're always running in that 0 to 50% lower part of the battery where it just
charges super fast.
So your downtime is like nothing. You're just go.
Trevor was telling us earlier in the show that your speeds were insanely nuts because in the time you're making up, you're maybe just charging for 5 minutes longer. So ideally, why would you not?
Right.
And to show you how fast this is now, I can basically plug the route into Waze, leave home, and Waze just assumes I'm driving a gas car. It doesn't calculate any downtime for charging or anything, right? I can keep that pace, stopping to charge once an hour.
And you'll beat Waze.
Yeah, just because I'm driving, a little over the speed limit. But if you drive enough, and you can.
Little over the limit.
Little bit.
No, you're not. You're speeding.
No, but the thing is, you can burn kilowatts like there's no tomorrow because they get replaced so fast at the charger. You literally can't drive fast enough to outrun the charging speed.
Once you've already preconditioned the car, it's easy peasy.
Yeah. Speaking of which, a lesson for you all. When I stopped last night in White River, it was minus 22 Celsius when I went to sleep, and I was so excited to get there. So I arrived with about 24% battery left. I thought that's plenty. There's a supercharger right next to the hotel.
2% when you woke up?
Yeah.
That's minus 7.6 Fahrenheit.
Yeah. So of course I went to sleep, and the car only used about the car lost about 6% overnight from sitting there, which was reasonable. The problem is it was a block of ice. I mean, I had a little bit of battery and a big section of blue on the screen.
Snowflake.
Yeah, so I figured, no problem. I'll plug into the V3 charger, and after a few minutes, it'll warm up, and I'll get my mega charging rate, and I'll be off. No, that doesn't work that way. It doesn't matter how long you've been charging, and trust me, I tried all 6 stalls. I tried running the car up and down the street, doing like 0 to 60 launches to warm the battery. I tried everything known to man. You think I could get a hair over 60 kilowatts out of any of them? No. So that's why I'm late to the show. I calculated that I would have been out of there in 15 minutes. It took me an hour to charge this morning before I came.
Interesting.
Yeah. So word to the wise, if you're traveling like this in cold weather, no matter how exhausted you are, go and charge your car at the supercharger before you enter the hotel. And that way you can just precondition, the next morning and be on your merry way.
Good buffer. Yeah.
Well, we're getting a cold front here in my area. It's
gonna be shut up.
This weekend? Sorry.
Oh, shut up.
Sorry.
Actually, Ian sent me a picture this morning. It was actually minus 27. Is that right?
That was the coldest. That actually is once I hit the road.
That's like December of 2017 kind of cold when my pipes froze in the house.
Yeah. If it's not negative, if it's like 27 centigrade on the other side, that's close to ideal temperature you want.
That's minus 17 Fahrenheit for those of you not on the metric system.
To give you an idea, at the speeds I was traveling at, I was pulling 300 watt hours per kilometer, not per mile, per kilometer. Whoa. So you're talking close to 450 per mile I was pulling.
Crap, dude.
Yeah, it was mental.
But the V3 makes up for it.
It does. It's plug it, bing, done. You're charged, you're gone. Yeah. I want to complete the whole thing by saying, first of all, anybody out in the West Coast, if you're anywhere in the greater Vancouver area and you'd like to come out and see us off, we're going to do two things. On Saturday night, Trevor will definitely be at the hotel. We're in an area called Tsawwassen, I think is how you pronounce it.
Tsawwassen.
Tsawwassen,
TW,
exactly.
yeah.
That's it.
That's where the first supercharger, the lowest first supercharger on the mainland is.
So that's it. So we're going to be staying in that area. So on Saturday night, I hope to be in there sometime late afternoon, and we'll try and make the arrangements tomorrow, and we'll tweet it out. But we'd like to have a group dinner for anybody in the community, any friends, family, anybody who's interested in joining us. We'd love to see you.
Yep.
So if you can respond to us on Twitter and let us know that you're interested, either to Trevor or myself, and we can get a little list going to give us an idea of the size of the group. And then there's a shopping center there called Tsawwassen Mills. And that's got a couple of nice restaurants in it. So we'll pick one of those, and maybe around 6 p.m. on Saturday night we'll have a little get together for dinner. We can have a fun time with all our friends out in
and then you can see us off the next morning when we leave.
Correct. The plan there is that same shopping center, Tsawwassen Mills. Tsawwassen. I'm just completely destroying that.
I'm sorry, I can't pronounce it either.
Exactly. Total apologies. So at that first supercharger, the next morning, we're going to get together at 9 a.m. So again, anybody wants to come down, join us for some coffees at 9 a.m. to top up the car. And then the plan is probably around 9:45, we're going to drive down to the water. You're only about 2-3 minutes away from the shore of the Pacific there. You're right on the edge at Delta. And we have a little ceremony we're going to do before we get in the car. And then at 10 a.m. sharp, we hop in, and it's eastbound and down, baby. Hopefully 3 days later is the plan. Hopefully 3 days, maybe a little more, we'll be in Halifax. We'll do another party there.
Yeah, we will be tweeting our progress as we go. So if anybody wants to meet us at the superchargers, you're welcome to come. Keep in mind that we have a time crunch, so we can't, stay any longer than we have to beyond charging.
Literally, at V3s, they're like 10 to 15 minute stops.
Yeah,
it's enough to at least come out, say hi, get some pictures, do something cool.
I do plan on having the Glimpse app on my phone, so you'll be able to watch our live progress as we go. We will be running stopwatches, so that we'll have an accurate timestamp as to when we get there, and as we go, and then of course Halifax. I mean, if you're on the East Coast, come and see us when we finish up.
Yeah, that's
amazing, guys. This is really. I mean, if anyone thinks that they've driven a lot. I don't here in the U.S. when you think of coast to coast is nowhere near over 5,000.
Canada's pretty big.
Yeah. So
a third of the country is Ontario. I mean, I left yesterday morning, at 6 a.m. and I didn't get out of Ontario until about 4 hours ago. It's more than 2,000 kilometers wide. I mean, it's a third of the country.
I remember seeing a graphic on the internet, which I'm sure is not hard to find, where there were two lines on an X and Y axis. So on the X axis, which was really, really low, like right north of the U.S.-Canada border, was saying 50% of the Canadian population lives below this line. And you're seeing all of Canada. So it's this huge swath of land, and like a sliver, just all like 50% of the folks live down here.
It's
and then
too
they
cold.
We're all stuck up on the border trying to get some heat.
And there was the Y-axis, which was more towards the east, and they're saying, and 50% of the people live to the right of this line. So you can imagine just how concentrated it is in like Quebec and Ontario and all that stuff. So it is crazy how massive Canada is, but really how concentrated the populace is. I mean, there are folks out west in British Columbia going, hi, don't forget we're here. And then, you're driving to Saskatchewan and people are like, what the hell is here? Log cabins. There's more, caribou than there is certain people.
I will say I'm really looking forward to seeing the West Coast again. BC is beautiful. Oh, yeah. No wonder so many people want to live there. We call it bring cash because it's so expensive to live there.
Yeah.
But you know what, though?
But the Rockies.
A lot of U.S. television studios do production.
Oh, yeah.
I'm excited to see the whole thing. I'm a really lousy
I'm with you,
Canadian.
Ian.
I just haven't seen, I've seen the Maritimes, and I've seen, British Columbia and parts of Quebec, and the whole middle of the country to me is the attraction.
I've never seen it either.
Is there a way for you guys to create a running clock somewhere so people can track from the moment you start just how much has elapsed since you've started?
Well, we'll have the stopwatches on each one of their phones. We'll start it at the same time. We'll keep it running.
Not paying attention to my question. I'm asking for people to go to social media and find out where the hell you are.
Yes, we're going to use the Glimpse app, which is an app you run on your phone, and it does live tracking.
But I'm saying, will they be able to see like how from 10 o'clock on Saturday, like how long you've been driving? So if they go, if they check on the site on Sunday at 2 p.m., can they see how long you've been driving for the whole time?
Yeah.
Okay, that's
Well, but it would be a simple calculation. Basically, we're never going to stop driving. There's no stops.
Math. People can't do math. You know that.
Okay.
Ian is doing most of the driving. I'm the relief
show
driver.
in Celsius and kilometers, and people are going, guys, can you just tell me what the temperature is? Because I don't want to do the math right now. I'm not.
I know it's probably a little too late for this, but I wonder if this would be an opportunity for a world record.
I looked into that. Unfortunately, without much notice, you have to pay major buckazoids to be able to be considered.
Yes.
And the time crunch we're under right now, there's no way we could get under that. I mean, I thought about that, but
somebody will break it.
You need several weeks of lead time to do that. So.
Well,
16 weeks.
Unofficially, I don't know anybody who's done a nonstop 6,000 kilometer EV drive. I mean, and I internet, connect me if I'm wrong, but I don't know anybody who's done more than 4,000 miles continuous driving, charge. So, in and of itself, it'll be unofficial.
It's a toll on the human body. I mean, it'd be one thing if you're making this trip with another person or a third person in your car. It's a whole different story taking the trip by yourself. And I know I've driven from California to Florida in under 3 days' time. That was hard because I'm sleeping maybe an hour or two and then continuing to drive. It's not an easy thing to do for sure.
And I don't sleep very well in a car, so this is going to be a real experience for me.
Trevor's so easy going. I think by day 3 he's going to be more than a little cranky. This should get interesting.
I'm hoping the shoulder holds out.
When Trevor drove down from Canada for the show, when we did our show down here in Florida, we went to Universal Studios the very next morning. So he drove up from Hollywood to my place in West Palm Beach, and then I drove the rest of the way from Orlando. And damn it, the man could not sleep in my car. He's literally a zombie, just like he's dead to the world. And he's like, I can't sleep. I'm sorry.
My wife has packed some very good drugs, and I have a mask and earplugs. I mean, anyways,
we're gonna get y'all set up, man.
Yeah, we'll see. But so anyways, that's the plan. Follow us on social media. We're starting on Sunday, but Saturday night, we're going to have a dinner and stuff. So make sure you follow us.
That means a show next week.
Yes. Yeah, we won't be doing a show next week for obvious reasons. All right, Raj, since you're the guest this evening, it's your opportunity to shine. Tell people where they can find you, whatever you want to plug, buddy.
Yeah, mainly you can find me on Twitter, Tesla_Raj, on YouTube. We're making educational videos or fun videos. That's Tesla Raj. Yes, Instagram, Tesla_Raj. Yeah, anywhere you look up Tesla Raj, it's the logo of the steering wheel. You'll find me.
Well, links will be in the show description as usual. Thanks, buddy, for joining us. We always enjoy having you on.
Love being on.
All right, Ian, since you probably want to go to bed soon, why don't you do the honors next for yourself?
So on Twitter, at Ian Pavelko, and Tesla Owners Online, you can find me under the handle Mad Hungarian. And then if you're looking for something in the Evolveware line of Tesla-themed T-shirts, then you can go to Teespring, T-E-E, spring, all one word, .com, and just look in the search tool for Mad Hungarian Evolveware, where you will find my Evolveware shirts.
Excellent. Last but not least, Mr. Camacho, nice and easy.
You guys can find me on Twitter. The handle is ECFix, ECFIX. And if you're interested in buying a Tesla or you want to get solar installation, all of our links will be down in the description for the podcast. But please only use mine. My code is ERIC95497. That's ERIC 95497. Use that when you get your car or when you get solar installation. Helps you, helps me. We get mileage, credits, whatever it is. And also, it's a really, really big push this year for solar credits. So please, if you want to help the environment, do your part. If you can get solar, do get solar. And use Eric95497 when you make your order through Tesla.
That's right. Follow that man. As usual, links for everything we've talked about tonight and everybody here online will be in the show in the video description. You can follow me on Twitter, very active. The handle's Model 3 Owners. You can also search for Tesla Owners online. You can find me there. Check out the forum. We got awesome discussions closing in on 40,000 members now. TeslaOwnersOnline.com. Nice. Got lots of great sponsors on there. Speaking of which, I want to say thank you to our friends at Dulaban Insurance, ceramic coatings from the guys at Fine Lab, and last but not least, our great friends at Evanex. Put a great show on there a couple weeks ago, EVs and Tea in Miami. So I want to say thank you to our sponsors who make this happen. And yeah, that's about it. So that's it for tonight. Again, we're not going to have a show next week. We're going to skip next week because Mr. Madman and I are doing something crazy. And we'll see you the following week. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll catch you in the next one. We'll see you later. Ian, one more?
Just one more.
One more?
I just forgot. I'm going to be in the service center, the Tesla service center in Calgary at 8:30 a.m. on Friday, just giving the car one last once-over. So anybody in the Calgary area, if you want to come down and say hello and share a coffee, whatever, and hang out, that would be awesome. So any of the Calgary peeps, if you want to come down and you hear the show in time, 8:30 on Friday a.m., I will be there.
Make sure you tweet it out and I'll retweet it and get you some action.
Yeah, I will. I definitely will.
Okay. Well, sounds good. Thanks for joining in, folks, and we'll see you in the next one. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.
Bonsoir tout le monde.
Bye.
See you.